Ryan L sends in, how about guys with high ADP but aren't healthy? Guys like who we just talked about, Devon Achane, but specifically I want to discuss Malik Nabers with a litany of injuries. How do you deal with these high upside player with injuries that could be cautious management or end up seriously disrupting their season? Obviously, everybody comes back to 2024 Christian McCaffrey. Thanks, gentlemen. Appreciate you all being a great one-stop shop for fantasy for many formats. Appreciate the hell out of you, Ryan. We can't do this without you and everybody that supports us. So, again, shout out to you. Malik Nabers, Ray, I know that you're sky high on Malik Nabers. Do you have any panic about, like, again, just it's the toe, it's the shoulder, it's the back. It's always something with Malik Nabers.
Let me try to answer this in a way that will be actionable to answer this question, because for me to sit up here and say I've got zero panic, no concern right now, and neither should you, I don't think that's the right advice. Do I think Malik Nabers is going to be out there playing week 1 for the Giants and balling out like he always does? I do. I absolutely do. I've been a big fan of his game and following him through LSU. There are always little things happening with Leak, but then he's on the field playing. But what I will say is I think there are quite a few, or at least a couple of receivers drafted within his range to where if you don't feel comfortable with it, I don't think going another route, whether that be Nico Collins, Puka Nacua, whomever it is, if you're like, I'd rather take those guys over Malik Nabers because I just don't trust the issues and the injuries that I've seen, I'm not going to argue or fight you on that. My cover with him doesn't have to be reflected to everybody else because there are some issues. So I will say for me, with Malik Nabers, I would put it as, right now for me, I would say no panic. But if you have some panic and prefer to pivot inside that tier, inside that range, no issue with it whatsoever. You want to put him at the back of the tier. If that's what you want to do, no issue with it whatsoever.
Yeah, look, this is great advice from you, Ray, honestly, and this is why we do tiers again. And look, here's the thing. I know people come to this show and you're like, come on, like give me the answer. Ray, certainly me, I have no idea. Ray has no idea either. Like, we can't sit here and say like it'll be fine. It's just this, that, and the other. Like, he's always played through and just, we have no idea. These are human beings. This is the human body. Even like the Twitter docs don't know. They don't know. Like, nobody knows what's going to happen. Like, again, like you said, he's dealt with like the stuff on and off through LSU. This toe injury in particular, he has said, someday I'm going to have surgery on it. You know, what if someday is week 5? What if someday is week 15, right? When you're like, damn, Malik Nabers and I, we're moonwalking to the fantasy championship and they just one thing, like you just don't know. So like, if you personally out there, I love that. You want to, it's bothering you. Don't sit here and let some be a man, be a woman. Like don't let someone else talk you into making your pick. Yeah. If it bothers you, Amon-Ra St. Brown is right there and he's awesome. Like Brian Thomas Jr. is right there and he is awesome. So it's just, again, to me, I love Ray's analysis on this. Like I don't know what to be panicked or not, but if you are panicked, take somebody else. No big deal. Yeah. We just don't really know. And it's great to bring up the CMC example because that's one of those where everybody could say, yeah, when the game started, he'll be there, and then he wasn't. I mean, I'm not saying this is going to happen with Malik Nabers, but it's a good example to kind of remember the downside of it. But let's go to another submission here. This is our final email submission. This one's from Jason S. Nervous about what's going on in Pittsburgh. I'm really worried about the Steelers' offense. Oh, just you, Jason. Aaron Rodgers is someone who has always taken a little bit longer to get in sync with his weapons. This is the first time in his career where he is surrounded by zero familiarity, top to bottom. Great point. DK Metcalf is not a shy person, and neither is Aaron Rodgers. Shy person, that's awesome. And the fact that everyone knows this is Aaron Rodgers last year means there's a clock staring down at this whole team. A tense situation might be an understatement. Couple that with the fact that the Steelers have overachieved the past few years. I think this is a team that is a disaster waiting to happen. Jalen Warren, RB1. Roman Wilson, RB2. Arthur Smith, yikes. I think the reason Jason is sending this in, despite all this concern, is I still drafted DK everywhere. Jason, what? You said all that, and then you drafted DK everywhere. You have just nothing but bad vibes to send into this email. And then you're like, well, I still went ahead and I drafted DK everywhere. So I get it. I get why you might be a little nervous about it. Ray, your panic level on this Steelers situation.
I feel the same way I kind of felt the whole time. Am I?
Yeah.
Some panic, sure. I guess it's more so my expectation level isn't very high. It's not high.
Right.
Aaron Rodgers at this point, he is what he is. I think DK Metcalf having to operate as a true number one right now, I'm curious to see what that looks like in this offense. The bevy of tight ends, this running game where I'm a big Caleb Johnson fan. I was a big Caleb Johnson fan as a prospect. I was hoping to see a little more. At the running back position, you say you see things early with running back. I don't want Jaylen Warren as the team's primary RB1. I don't think that's the best deployment for Jaylen Warren. My expectation level, right, for the Pittsburgh Steelers coming into the season long before training camp was not high. You drafted a lot of DK Metcalf. Here's what I think you're going to get. I think you're going to get volume. I think you're going to get opportunity, and you're going to get volume. What that volume and opportunity will yield as far as fantasy points, I would say I would not bet that being high-end production. I don't envision this offense operating that way. And I don't think Pittsburgh is going to be a total disaster because defensively, I think they're going to be fine on the defensive side of the ball. My expectation level here for Pittsburgh is just low. So I would just say I've got some panic overall with the offense, Matt.
Yeah, Ray and I are in lockstep on this one because my expectations were also pretty low overall for this. And, but I definitely think you got to have some panic about it. How could you not? There's so many combustible personalities on this roster, and in the coaching staff, if we're including Arthur Smith, I think the Aaron Rodgers into Arthur Smith offensive fit is terrible. Like the throws that Arthur Smith wants his quarterback to make, get under center, drop back, rip it over the middle of the field. Rodgers doesn't want to do that and wasn't good at doing it when he was on the field last year with the New York Jets. He's a physically compromised quarterback. Yeah, he's one more year away from the Achilles. He's also one more year around the planet Earth, one more rotation around the sun. Okay, he's a year older. That's tough. The Metcalf fit is a little weird with Rodgers. The running back room is a mess, bro. I do when we're doing draft content, Caleb Johnson gets drafted to Arthur Smith and the outside zone scheme he runs. I'm like, that's a great fit. That's perfect. That's a nice little win for Caleb Johnson. But Jaylen Warren is a guy who, by the way, I've never clicked him in fantasy this season because he's going at running back 30, 87th overall on Yahoo leagues. He's not the type of back that gets a ceiling, in fantasy. He's going to catch some. He's going to be out there for pass block reps because Aaron Rodgers is going to demand it, which is just going to take away. He's just going to take away from Caleb Johnson basically. And Kenny Gainwell is going to be in the mix here. I don't think we've talked about Kenny Gainwell being the RB3 enough, bro. He's the perfect Arthur Smith ruin your fantasy football team player,
100%. 100%. You know it, Matt.
And these other dudes just like Roman Wilson, Calvin Austin, don't move the needle. So I'll tell you what, though, just really put this into brass tacks, Ray. I'm not sure, best ball aside, I don't think in any of my managed leagues so far, I've clicked a Pittsburgh Steeler. Maybe hey, Jonnu Smith tight end too, whatever. But I don't think I've clicked a Steeler once this year, and I haven't even really been tempted to.
The construction is just so off, just schematically, the things that DK does, the backfield that Rodgers has, the type of tight end that Jonnu is, it's just, I don't know how these guys fit. Roman Wilson, Calvin Austin, I don't think these guys, and we're not talking best ball here, where you have to plug them into your starting lineup. You are not putting Calvin Austin or Roman Wilson in there. And to start off, I think you've made a great point. It is going to be a nasty 3-man committee in Pittsburgh. It's going to be a nasty 3-man rotation. Kenny Gainwell, he was in the game the last preseason game, turning up, ripping off big runs. I just don't know how all this fits. It literally feels like they went out, Matt, to every piece of the NFL roster construction planet and just piecemealed this offense together. Like, let me get a little DK. Let's bring some Aaron Rodgers in. Like, none of this stuff even mixes, right? You're trying to make gumbo with Italian ingredients. It doesn't work. You need the Creole Cajun stuff. It doesn't work. The ingredients don't make a damn pizza here. I don't know what we're doing, man. I don't know what we're doing, Harmon.
It's a great point. And also, like, this offensive line, I think, could be really good, but Broderick Jones has been a bad NFL player, and they're just like, oh, don't worry, he's moving back to left tackle now. I don't know. By the way, I think I know we did this on the season prediction show that we season preview show that we taped in Las Vegas with Nate Tice, Ben Fox, and Justin Boone and myself. I predicted the Steelers would finish with a losing record for the first time in the Mike Tomlin era. I also think the defense, by the way, you mentioned it. Defense is good on paper. That's a very old defense. A lot of dudes like 30 and older. Not just a lot of dudes, all their best players, by the way. TJ Watt, Darius Slayton, Jalen Ramsey, Cameron Hayward. Cameron Hayward is like your age, Ray. And so, like, bad old is what I'm trying to say. So, yeah, I actually don't even know how old you are.
Well, you know, old GQ, I got some years behind me, but damn, Harmon, yes, that hurt a little bit. But to your point, I'm with you, and I think using some ADP here.
I shouldn't even talk. By the way, I'm 34 now. I'm not. I can't even do this. I shouldn't even talk. I'm washed.
I'll be 39 in a couple of days. Happy early birthday to me. Okay, September 3rd, I'll be 39. All right, thank you. But DK Metcalf quickly, man. I mean, wide receiver 22. You got George Pickens off the board. Wide receiver 27. You know, Tedero McMillan, wide receiver 25. Jamison Williams, wide receiver, Cortland Sutton, 23. He's in that range where DK is just an easy fade. Like, I'll just click somebody else.
Yeah,
he's one of those names. I'm in that spot, and I'm just like, I'm going somewhere else.
I agree. It's just that's a great range of wide receivers this year, and I don't have a lot of draw to go to this situation where I just have all of these questions. And again, it's a guy that, like, by the way, DK Metcalf is coming off his worst season in the NFL. That might be a nothing burger because he's still in the middle of his prime. But it was so interesting during the Terry McLaurin stuff that everyone's like, well, yeah, he's turning 30, you know, whatever. Metcalf got that extension though, no problem. Metcalf's coming off his worst season, and he's from the same draft class, and we're just like, not. What are we talking about here?